wanted to give a little caveat to this next video, an intro to the intro, I guess. This is the first video I ever shot. It's a little bit janky in the beginning. I shot this like probably 3 months ago now, back at the beginning of the winter. So just go easy. It's a little rough at the start. It picks up though, it gets better. Thanks. Hey, so I wanted to do another video here about, hold on one second. Let me just get my exercise mat. I need something to kneel on so I don't destroy my knee. The guy that had it before me cut this out. He was planning on doing the floors, doing the whole restoration on the truck. But this is how I ended up with it. So he had the floor pans, so basically what we did was we just screwed them in just so we had something and taped it to keep the wind out and drove the thing home. I drove it all summer. Now it's in the shop, time to like go through it. And really, most of the mechanicals are sorted out, but it's time to deal with these floors. So I've already sort of cleaned up some of the stuff that he did. I've actually jumped ahead and actually shaped this floor a little bit, or trimmed it to where I want it. And I'm not going to half-ass it, but I'm going to kind of half-ass it. It's a 68 F250 that's pretty banged up. There's a lot of rust in a lot of weird places. Just sort of show you how you can get a truck together without spending a ton of cash, a ton of time. It doesn't have to be perfect. You got to remember, this is a floor. Your feet are going to be on it. There's going to be a mat on it. You're not going to see it. Does it block out the weather? Does it block out the sound? Does it block out the rain? That's all that matters. You obviously can go crazy and do, you know, seamless welds, make it look like it was never any rust. I am not doing that with this truck. This is not that truck. So let me just catch up to speed on where I'm at. Like I said, I already trimmed out the floor and got it pretty prepped. And I'm actually almost ready to weld. I got to do some more buffing here. The dude that I bought it from already sort of cleaned this up. I just kind of went over it because, like I said, I've been driving the thing. So there was definitely some surface rust on this. So you want some fresh metal. I'm going to clean the rest of this up. I got the floor here. So this is basically what I got going on. I'm going to set this in there. I mean, that's pretty much it. So let's begin. We'll just start making some noise. I'm doing such a large section because I actually don't know entirely where that weld seam is going to end up. It could be up here and it could be down here, so I'm just kind of going over the whole thing. Same on this side, I'm just kind of doing the whole thing. As you can see, you might be able to see the paint lines. That's kind of where I assume it's going to end up. It's kind of like just an easy guide for me to kind of visualize where exactly it's going to be welded. So I'm just going to kind of go, you know, 1/2 inch on each side of that line. I'm using just a quick little grinder. It's actually kind of worn out now, but just a sanding disc to kind of go over these edges, and just because you don't want to take off a ton of metal. Got about an hour and a half before I gotta get out of here. My goal for tonight is basically just to get this thing tacked in. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just tacked in for tonight. And the next time when I come back, we can just start doing some finish welds. We can get started on that other side. All right, one more dry fit. I still want to try to clean this up a little bit. I got to figure that out. Let's just throw this thing in there. That's pretty much where I want it to be. Pull it over a little bit. Yeah, we just have to do a little bit more cleaning here. Definitely some more cleaning there. This all looks good. I have to pound that in. Maybe a little bit more cleaning here. A little bit low there. Right there. All that smoke is the undercoating underneath. This thing was undercoated like crazy. I wouldn't doubt that it's on fire. I'm going to ignore that for a minute. It's already kind of in place. Let's just double check this. I'm going to have to do some pounding on that side. So you can see that gap right there. You kind of want to pound that flat. You have some gaps up in there too. A gap kind of down in there. Just kind of want to get all that flat. I got to push this down in, get that flat. But once this is whacked down, and that's in, and that's whacked down and in, and kind of just crisscross around and just sort of just finish weld it in. You don't want to just lay a bead all the way across because it's going to start pulling your metal and the whole sheet will get distorted and start pulling and do weird things, and this whole side of it will pop up or something crazy like that. So you just kind of want to tack, 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 tack all the way around until you can get the thing pretty much in there. Once it's really secure and tacked in a bunch of places, then you can kind of just go through it and weld it. Welcome to day 2 of welding the floors into this diesel. The heat just kicked on and the compressor just kicked on, so it might be a little bit noisy, but do my best. So where we left off. So I was here a few days ago. I had to split a little bit early. The goal was to just get this thing tacked in, but I was actually able to get the majority of it welded in, aside from a few spots up there and over there. So of course I left the hardest for the last. This side here is going to be pushed down a little bit. That side is going to be pushed down a little bit. It's going to be kind of a pain. We'll see what we can do to try to like smash that down. I might have to cut some reliefs in it to kind of get away from that bend. The bend is what's kind of holding it up. On this side, I might have to throw a few tech screws in there, or do something like kind of like drill a little bit of a hole and push it down to weld it in. Something on the underside is holding that up. So I'm kind of dying to get going on this. I'm freezing. It's freezing in here. Hopefully that heat really kind of like warms this up, but maybe I can make some heat with the welder. That's the stupidest thing I've ever said. Anyway, we still have to do that side. I haven't touched it. It's still just screwed in with some tape covering in the holes. So we're going to pull all that up, pull the screws up, pull that out, kind of clean up what needs to be cleaned, get it down to bare metal so we can get a weldable surface, trim out the pan to get that thing squared away, and do the same, get it clean so that we can weld to it. And then once this is done, once this is all welded in, hopefully I can get that all done today. I ordered some kill mat, which actually wasn't that expensive. I thought it was going to be way more expensive. So, but I got a bunch of kill mat, throw that down. Hopefully it'll kill the sound, some of the noise in that diesel. And then I also got some soundproofing, sound deadening felt for the floor pans. So I'm going to throw that down. And I actually spent a little bit of money on a brand new rubber mat from Dennis Carpenter. So we're going to throw that in, get the seat in, and kind of get the transmission buttoned up. That's sort of where we're at with this. I mean, then after that, I think that we're going to be done with the interior. Let me grab that camera. We're going to walk over here, and I'll show you where we are with this, and show you my awesome welds, which are actually pretty ugly. I am definitely not a body guy, but whatever. As long as they're in there, that's all that matters. You can see, let's see if we can get in a little close there. Welded all the way around the floor pan. Yeah, it's a little ugly. So up in this corner, we still have to do some welding. That seam on the top right, which might be hard to see, is sticking out by about a ½ an inch. So I gotta get that pounded in. That's the hole for the clutch pedal linkage. And then most of this is welded, and then down over on this side, so I can get the light in there. This side all has to be welded. Safety glasses, earplugs. I can kind of push this down. See if I can get that tapped real quick. It's not bad. Not bad. A little bit of fire. That's still not. we go. That's better. Get some tack on that. It's flying everywhere. The spot here is super rusty. I didn't bother cutting it out because it would have been a lot of work to get that in, to get this fixed. I'm just going to spray that with some heavy Rust-Oleum. It is just blowing through left and right there. That metal right in that corner is super porous. Now, let's think about that later. Let's work on this side. So you can see right here, the same thing, it's kind of just bent out. I gotta get that to go back down. Give it a few good whacks to see if I can just bend it in. When I messed around with this a few days ago, it didn't want to go. Get this done, and I'm going to clean that up, and we're just going to move on to the other side. Awesome. Well, here I thought I just had a problem with my gun being whatever, but I am out of wire. So it is now 5 o'clock on Saturday. I'm going to see if there is a Tractor Supply close by, so I can get some welding wire. Go ahead and get started on that. It's always something. So I am calling this done. It's a little bit crude and it's a little ugly, but it's going to be covered with a lot of stuff, kill mat, felt soundproofing, rubber mat, paint. Paint makes things like this you look pretty good. Of course, I forgot to get paint at the store when I went to get more welding wire. Whatever, that's neither here nor there. But it's in, and it's pretty solid. So we're going to move on to the other side, and the plan is to get that done by hopefully within the next couple hours. That's going to be a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to try. So let's move on over there. A little bit of housekeeping to do. This is the old glove box. The hinge broke, so I found this spectacular eagle situation here. Symbol of freedom. Eagle. Now I got this cleaned up. I can get this tape off. I will say, Gorilla Tape is no joke. This stuff is ridiculous. Oof. Well, hopefully get some more holes on this behind me. I don't remember that. Nope. A couple hidden screws here. That's fine. Wow. Well, what are you gonna do? It is what it is. Man, that is pretty rough though. Holy fuck. Well, maybe we won't be getting this done tonight. Oh, that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough. You know, from the outside, this cab mount actually didn't look that bad, but it's pretty rough. There's not much left of it. Not going to do anything about it now. That's fun. All right, let's see where we land. Get this thing back in there real quick. Well, so let's see. That's pretty much in there like that. I had to cut out a bunch of this leading edge on that one, but on this one, I'm probably going to be able to leave most of it. Trimming off there, so probably start about there. Trim this goofy thing off. And I might actually just leave this, even though the seam is down low, I'm probably just going to leave this and just weld to this because underneath is so rotten. I can leave that, cut this off right here, cut this edge off till about there. Cut that off. Actually, no, this has to stay. So this is actually going to get cut there to about here. So there to here. So we're not cutting actually much of this one. This is all going to stay. Now you decide to throw paint. All right, get cutting. How I have it now actually fits really well, so I'm basically drawing my line to so I know where to clean. I gotta trim a little bit more on this side because somehow it's set in a little bit different, but I like it better. So I'm gonna cut a little bit more along here. It's actually pretty perfect. So that's all set. Just have to cut this. You're ready to start cleaning. That's what you call getting your money's worth. Very much left of that. There's so much glue from that Gorilla Tape. It's so hard to get off. Down to my last Rolock discs. These are all just scraps that I found around the shop. Of course, when I went to the store, I forgot to grab some more. Unfortunately, doing this sheet metal stuff eats these things up really fast. These sharp edges are brutal on the little discs. Let's get this thing set in there. Drag the welder over. Just like that. See how this goes. Gas is on. All right. There, there, there. Okay. Help if you turned it on. Like I said earlier, I want to kind of zigzag for the first few because it's going to start pulling and doing weird things. So you kind of tack it here, there, 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 as opposed to just running a bead. It'll be a lot straighter. Whew. Man, that glue is so bad. Can't forget my smashing tool. Yeah, it's already starting to pull. This side was up nice and tight, but I've only welded in a few spots and it's already starting to pull away. So I'm going to focus on that because that was such a pain in the ass last time. If I get this welded in, I got plenty of room on this side. So you can see, welded there, 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 but I really welded just there. And then I come over here and I welded here. And then I welded over here. And then I welded here. And then I welded up in there. And then a little bit there. And then a little bit more here. And then there. And now I'm just doing a little bit more up there because this side started to pull away. So I'm just going to keep hitting that. Pretty much it's in there now. I'm not super worried about it tweaking too much. I have a lot of tacks in place. I don't really have anything up in there yet, so I'm going to hit that next. I'm not super worried about that. Even if it pulls away, there's not much. I can have plenty of flex there. But I'm going to hit here, here, and here. Just keep going back and forth. This one's a lot more straightforward than the driver's side. Obviously a lot more rod on this side, but once this is in, it should be good. I'm being really careful up in here because this is super thin all through here. You can obviously see it's rotted there, but it's rotted on the back side too. So it's going to go super easy, super slow, short bursts so I don't blow through. I don't want to heat it up too much.
What I was running before was 0.30 welding wire, so I changed up to 0.25 for this sheet metal. It's a lot more manageable. You don't have to use as much heat to get it to melt. Well, that's it. They're in. Not too bad. I mean, I couldn't do anything with this. Just fill that with something up here. I don't know if you can see that. There's holes here. Take my word for it. I might put a plate there. But it's in. Relatively easy. Well, calling it a night. Finished that floor, got that other floor welded in. I mean, it's pretty much ready to go. I just got to do a couple little things. I mean, depends on how far you want to go with it. I could weld in a little bit more, some of those holes. I might throw just a couple small patches, but the floors are done. I mean, I don't know. I might actually do some welding underneath to connect the bottom of the cab mount to the floor pan. I say that now, but I probably won't do it. Sometimes you just want to be done. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how adventurous I get. But I'm going to go home. Well, I'm back at it with these floors. Another day. I decided, because I like more work and I'm a glutton for punishment, I'm actually going to clean up some of these welds. And I'm also going to fix some stuff down here. I'll show you in a second. It's pretty bad on this side and pretty bad on that side, and I'm also probably going to do some welding underneath just to kind of get a little bit more support, make a little bit more of a positive connection with the cab mounts and the floorboards. I also do want to fix, there's a hole over here that I got to fix. Actually, I've looked for some metal here. That might not be enough, but I was sizing some steel earlier. I mean, I might as well do it. I don't have my kill mat anyway. That's coming in either today or tomorrow. So I can't even lay down the floor until that shows up. But let me bring you in here and show you what I got going on, and then I'll get to work. Sorry for the audio. The heat just kicked on. So what I have is a big rod hole right here, and this is pretty loose. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go another little angle in here, another plate in here, just to kind of shore that up and cover that, and then I might actually put something up in there. But you can see this hole. I don't know if you can see that, but the whole thing is flexing pretty good. And part of that is because it's no longer connected to the bottom where the cab mount is. So, and it's the same on that side. I don't know if you can see over there, but right about there, it's pretty rotted. And the same, you got the same flex. So the cab mount does kind of cradle the floor, so I'm just going to throw some tack welds in on that. And I actually bought some paint, some actually gloss black Rust-Oleum to cover this whole messy situation. So it's going to look amazing when it's done. Certainly good enough for the girls that I date. Figured I would spare you the noise of the cutting. I don't have a shear to cut sheet metal. I don't even have a brake. I got a vise. Either I didn't need that on this, but what I did is I made this piece of metal that's going to go in right here. Just going to cover up that hole. I'm going to try to fill this in a little bit. I'm going to actually back that up a little bit. Fill this in. Weld it along here. Weld it right along here. And the vibration is partly that, but it'll get rid of a lot of the vibration and a lot of that movement. And then probably that little piece here. And that's probably going to do it. And I might tack underneath where the cab mount is. And I bought some new roll-up discs. You know what I could do to prove that I'm not a total hack? I could cut this here and cut it out and then insert this and just kind of butt weld it together, and then you wouldn't be able to see this. Probably be a little bit nicer. Maybe I'll go ahead and do that. So let's mark that. Where that's going to be. That cut will be right there. Cut all that crap out. Knock that out. Let me get something to get all that crap out of there. Tuck those in. Alright, so this is all cleaned out. I vacuumed it all out. There was like this much crud in there. So this panel is going to go in just like this. Going to jam that screwdriver in there to kind of pull it out a little bit, make it even. Just like that. Turn the heat up a little bit. So I have that tacked in place. You can remove this magnet. It's a little bit more critical with this one when you have these butt welds to kind of just slowly move around, because every time you do a weld, it's going to want to pull. Just kind of go easy. Just slowly work your way around. Who says you can't weld rust? Now that that's in there, I'm just going to do some grinding. I don't care about this. This just got kind of ugly in here because I don't think I cleaned the inside edge enough. This I think worked out well. I'm just going to grind all that down smooth. I could do a better job filling this in with weld, but being that this thing is a rusty piece of shit, I'm not going to bother. I almost don't even think I should bother with this. The rug is going to cover that anyway. Maybe I should do that. Aerates. So what I did was I found this piece of scrap and I knocked away a bunch of the rust that was behind, because this actually is directly into the wheel well. So I'm just going to hold this behind with a magnet. I'm just going to weld it all around here, and I think that should be sufficient. Throw a few tack welds on that. It's welding a lot better now. What I ended up doing was I turned up the feed and the voltage to kind of overcome the rust in the scale. Oh man, well that is ugly, but at least water won't be getting in. That would have been a direct flow of water right from the wheel. Even that's pretty funky. Stop touching it. I had this little piece of sheet metal thing here. I'm just going to tack that in. I might be able to make this a little bit nicer instead of this totally hack piece of shit.
trim it a little bit more. Maybe there. A little bit more along here. I might be able to just drop that right in there. Let's try that. All right, well, at least water ain't gonna be gushing in from the wheel. That'll all get covered anyway. All right, so I'm back on the driver's side. This is the last thing. Well, the last thing I'm gonna do above the above side. I still want to do a little bit of welding in the center. Why, I don't know. I have this piece of metal. Just gonna jam it in there, cut it to fit, and cut out here just a little bit. This side isn't as bad as that side. And just weld it in, and then I'll be done. Grind a little bit, make it look a little bit prettier, even though it doesn't really matter. Paint, and then weld the bottoms, and then it is done. 100% done. A few animals are living in here. A lot of dirt, a lot of nuts, a lot of seeds, some paper. Let's go get the vacuum. I think there's about 300 years of dust in here. That should do it. All right. Where were we? I need my smashing tool. This one isn't as rotted. I can't get in there with a cutting wheel to get really in there. Smash this in a little bit. It's just going to be cut a little bit more square. So I'm going to start with a cut here. What did I do with that magnet?
There it is. Excuse me. All right. So I think this thing's just about ready, so I'm gonna start cleaning. All right. If I drop this thing in there, I will never get it back. So the goal is to not drop it in. Just about there. I think that that's about as good as it's going to get. I'm going to leave it there. Alright, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you with me and I'll show you where I'm at here. Hopefully this works. I'm going to weld right along there just to kind of give it some more support. Hope if I turned it on. So much rust here. Well, it's in there. I'm not going to show you that well. That is not nice. Oh. I think something's on fire. Hold on. Checking for fire. Nope, we're good. Is that undercoated burning? Alright. So next step is clean up, get all this crap out of here, blow this all out, maybe grind a little bit, maybe not, throw some paint down, and we're ready for the kill mat, which is currently sitting on my doorstep. But the floors are in. Well, I obviously decided not to grind any of this stuff. I think it's fine. Man, you cannot clean this enough. I don't know. This adjustable high output, standard, low output, vertical fan, horizontal fan. Huh. High output. I think I want high output. I want to smother this thing. Throw some on the top here. Because you know you're going to get water in here. It's going to sit. A little paint there. And then
Sure, why not? Right there. I'm going to hit the underside too. Probably do a couple coats. Brand new. There you go. Brand new floors. So the floors are in. They look pretty good. They aren't perfect, but sometimes being done is better than being perfect. If you stay till the end, I appreciate it. I will definitely have more videos on this truck. We have a list of things to do still. I don't even know off the top of my head, I'm kind of burnt out. Got to wire in the glow plugs, got to do some more stuff underneath. Stay tuned for that. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you very much.